Joining me now to help explain which speeches the best with our voters, our own pollster, the one and only Mr. Frank Luntz. Sir, how are you?
Sean, it's great, and actually I'm in Orlando, so I'm about 100 miles from the convention site, but these undecided and potential switchers, they watched the convention, and they had some very specific reactions to what they saw from the two main speakers.
Let's start with this. By the way, first of all, you have to do an interview with my friend who approached you prior to this interview over there at Fox Orlando. All right, let's start here. Romney, we, the people in this country, deserve better. Let's see how that dialed.
But his promises gave way to disappointment and division. This isn't something we have to accept. Now is the moment when we can do something. And with your help, we will do something. Now is the moment when we can stand up and say, I'm an American. I make my destiny. We deserve better. My children deserve better. My family deserves better. My country deserves better.
72 on the Democratic side, Frank, and nearly 90 there on Republican. That went over very well.
Yes, and two specific points. Number one, now. They don't want to wait. They don't even want to wait till the election. They're tired of 4 years of waiting for change to happen. They want it immediately. And secondly, Romney using the phrase, you deserve. You deserve. We want someone who acknowledges that it is not about the politicians or their job. It's about us and our job. And that's why that clip did so well.
All right, let's take a look at when he says we celebrate success. Because this has been a big part of the debate. Class warfare, the president attacking Mitt Romney, Bain Capital, etc. Let's roll this tape.
These are American success stories. And yet the centerpiece of the president's entire re-election campaign is attacking success. Is it any wonder that someone who attacks success has led the worst economic recovery since the Great Depression? In America, we celebrate success. We don't apologize for success.
89.56 was the last number I saw there. Very strong numbers. Interestingly, Democrats are giving Romney's speech here a very positive reaction.
And these are Democrats. Now, make no mistake, Sean, that there's a 43% core Obama vote that's definitely voting for him. That's not the people who reacted. We wanted people who were still undecided. And that idea that we don't attack success, we celebrate it, is very powerful among swing voters, those independents who are in the center of the electorate. And that's where Mitt Romney did the best in his speech.
All right, one of the areas, the biggest areas of attack by the Democrats in the administration has been on the issue of Bain Capital. He mentioned Bain Capital in the speech last night. You decided to dial it. Let's see if some of that negative, those negative ads had any impact here.
We weren't always successful at Bain, but no one ever is in the real world of business. That's what this president doesn't seem to understand. Business and growing jobs is about taking risk, sometimes failing, sometimes succeeding, but always striving. It's about dreams. Usually it doesn't work out exactly as you might have imagined. Steve Jobs was fired at Apple, and then he came back and changed the world. It's the genius of the American free enterprise system to harness the extraordinary creativity and talent and industry of the American people with a system that's dedicated to creating tomorrow's prosperity, not trying to redistribute today's.
92.84. I mean, I was a little surprised by that.
And what's interesting, that was actually the highest tested moment of the entire convention. And it's because it's not about politics, Sean. It's about people. It's about jobs. It's about creativity and ingenuity. It's about what makes America different. Now, you know that I've been critical from time to time about the language that the Romney campaign is using. That was perfection because it embraced something better. It was emotional, it was impactful, and Sean, it worked.
All right, let's take a look at Paul Ryan's speech. I thought two of the other best speeches at the convention were Paul Ryan, and I thought Marco Rubio did particularly well last night. Later on, we're going to go over Clint Eastwood's speech. But let's go to Paul Ryan, that this country, we don't have to settle for what we have going on right now, part of his speech.
When I was waiting tables, washing dishes, or mowing lawns for money, I never thought of myself as stuck in some station in life. I was on my own path, my own journey, an American journey, where I could think for myself, decide for myself, define happiness for myself. That's what we do in this country. That's the American dream. That's freedom And I'll take it any day over the supervision and sanctimony of the central planners.
95-76. I don't know if you can do any better than that, Frank. You've dialed me on occasion. I have not hit those numbers.
Sean, sometimes you do well, but not often do you do that well. That would be in the top 3% of all clips that we've tested. Now, I'm going to tell viewers something which may surprise them. Paul Ryan dialed better than Mitt Romney. Among independent voters, among those who are still considering both candidates, Paul Ryan's speech was more favorably received than even Mitt Romney's speech. And the reason why? Not only did he talk about himself as a person, but he talked about the challenges that he overcame, and he did so in a very passionate way. Mitt Romney is businesslike, and so he is very structured, and people build credibility because of that. Ryan is what excites people.
All right, let me ask you, in terms of overall, before we run to another Ryan cut here, the tone that they set for this convention seemed to be one, all right, things aren't working out well, you don't have to settle, we have a better plan, we can do this. Is that better than perhaps taking a sledgehammer and going after the president, the vice president, and their failed policies? Because it seems to me that was a strategic decision by the campaign for this entire convention.
Yeah, and I was there all 3 nights of the convention. I had people coming up, and they would tug at my jacket, and they'd say, come on, let's hit him. And I'd explain to them that that's actually not the approach if you want to win. In the end, everyone who's right of center has already decided that they're voting for Mitt Romney and Paul Ryan, that the goal is that last 6%, and that's all it is, Sean, who are still undecided, and they still like Barack Obama as a person, even if they don't like his performance. And it's 2 simple questions. I know you got a clip you want to show.
Yeah, we got real quick.
Is this as good as it gets, and do you really think that the next 4 years will get anything better?
All right, I'm going to predict, and we'll go over some of the people that will be speaking next week in a few minutes, that what I'm going to be calling the reinvention smear and slander convention next week is going to go over the top. It'll be full of anger, because that's what the campaign, they can't say they're successful. One more cut of Paul Ryan. Optimistic line, very Reagan-esque. We can do this. Let's see how it dialed.
Together, we can do this. We can get this country working again. We can get this economy growing again. We can make the safety net safe again. We can do this. Whatever your political party, let's come together for the sake of our country. Join Mitt Romney and me. Let's give this effort everything we have. Let's see this thing all the way through. Let's get this done.
All right, that's high as 89 and 74. Again, very good numbers.
Because it's so positive and it is so hopeful and it is so optimistic, and both of them made a very explicit decision that instead, as you said, of using that sledgehammer approach, they decided that it would be better to give Americans an alternative vision, an alternative and alternative policies. And you got to give Paul Ryan credit. There was a moment that I did not show here where he got teared up, and I'm not sure if people saw it at home because the camera cut away when he was talking about his mom. The more personal that Mitt Romney and Paul Ryan get, the more effective that they will be. And there's a lesson here, Sean, for Republicans. If they want to be effective, it's not just about policy. It's also about who they are and what drives them. The intent is important for these swing voters.
Frank Luntz, great work as usual. Say hi to my friend Valerie at Fox Orlando down there. I know you'll be doing an interview right after this show. Thanks for being with us.
You got it, Sean. Thank you.